What's up, guys and gals? It's your host with the most, Griever, as always, bringing you guys some more Kengan Omega. Kengan Omega Chapter 198 review. And get out your checkbooks, ladies and gentlemen, because this betting man wants to be paid. I want to be paid in full because, as most of you know, a vast majority of the community, both on my YouTube channel, on Discord, on Reddit, everywhere, was voting on Okubo to win this fight. Maybe not easily, but the majority of the community was betting on Okubo to win this fight. And who bet on the pro wrestler? Who bet on the Hell's Angel? I'll give you a clue. It's this guy. It's this guy right here. So yeah, I actually got this one right. I'm back in the betting game. You know, Berserker Bowl didn't exactly go the way I thought it would. I was much better at the Kengan Annihilation Tournament, to be fair. But I think I'm back on top, ladies and gentlemen. I picked Seki, most people picked Okubo, and Seki Bayashi won the fight. And right even before we get into the chapter review, can we just talk that this fight was not only a big shocker, and I know a lot of people have talked about this, like this has just been like Christmas came early. It's just been a happy, like, oh wow, we're getting this right before we really get into this inside arc, this Ryuki rescue arc and all that stuff. This has just been not only a bit of a shock, but a welcome surprise at the very least. A happy accident sort of thing. And seeing Okubo versus Seki has been nothing but good for the community. I haven't seen anybody disliking this, the pacing, the fight, anything about it. It's been really good. Nobody's saying like, hurry up past this fight and let's get to this. No one. I haven't heard very much in the way of complaints about these chapters. And I think we can all agree as a consensus that this is one of the top 5 fights in Omega. I think that's pretty concrete. I feel comfortable saying that, even though, as we know, anime and manga communities are there's very little consensus. There's always extremes on either end. That anime and manga communities are a spectrum that have colors that even the rainbow doesn't have. But right now, I think top 5 is easily top 5 in Omega. It's just been a great fight. It was rightly paced. Good start, good ending, good action in between. There was very little flaws in this fight, if any. And if they are flaws, they're more nitpicks than anything else, right? So, that being said, why don't we jump into the chapter? Because the first half of the chapter is, of course, the ending part. Shining Wizard was not, which is actually a wrestling move I found out, is not, in fact, the deciding factor. It was one follow-up move after. And now, Shining Wizard did a shit ton of damage to Okubo. We can argue that had the fight gone on any longer and stuff, he might have just like collapsed out of the sheer like, well, that really, I think I better like clunk, like something like that was probably gonna happen if that fight had extended any longer than it did. He was only running on adrenaline. He goes for a football style tackle, and Seki goes, yep, no, DDT, which I don't know what DDT is. It's just that classic wrestling move where they grab each other and then both bodies slam, like sort of that. Anyways, it was a great finish to the fight. Seki wins out, batten, bloody, beaten, and all that stuff, and same with Okubo. But what one hell of a fight! Now, the thing I want to say right out of the gate is there is a small flaw with this chapter. There is a small flaw. And it's the fact that, okay, so in the first half of the chapter, we get the finale of the fight. Then Seki grabs the mic to basically give a message to Koga. And we're going to talk about that message in a minute because it's a little different than the direction I've been thinking and that I've been saying in my reviews. It works to a degree, but I still think it's too early for Koga. We'll get into that. My problem is going back to Koga's evolution, and everybody seems to think Koga's got that MC power, which is very kind of annoying in a series like Kengan, because Okubo, what am I talking about? Well, Okubo, after Seki is giving his speech, Okubo gets up, and after Seki goes, like I've been saying, these two will go and share a beer after this, right? Like, they're still friends. Like, they're beating each other up, but it's a Kengan match. It's their job. It's their profession. It's what they've chosen to do. And afterwards, it's like, yeah, well, you got me pretty good. Yeah, you knocked out like 6 of my teeth. All right, like, cheers, mate. They will do that. So that's all good. That's all fine, right? But Okubo, after, Seki saying, man, he was one hell of a tough opponent and all that stuff, Okubo's sitting there like, damn, Seki, I wanted to give Koga the pep talk, the speech. And I'm sitting there like, Okubo, have you even actually spoken a word to Koga? Now, I didn't reread all of Omega to confirm this, but has Okubo actually directly even been alone in a room with this man? Has he even spoken a direct eye contact word to Koga? Like, what is Okubo's, sort of deal here? Like, does Okubo even, remember his full name? Like, that sort of came out of nowhere, and that's going back to a bit of an issue with Omega that a lot of people have, but I think I'm still really harsh on, and I think I have every right to be harsh on it, is the fact that all of a sudden, after KVP, Koga got this thing where all of a sudden the former Fang of Metsudo and the Emperor of the Purgatory matches, Roland and Agito, start teaching this man. And then all these other Purgatory fighters, like Carlos in the BB, it was the big thing in the Berserker Bowl, is that Carlos was teaching him and Liu Tan was teaching him and all this stuff. And it's like, no. Like, a lot of people just go, Nico style, and they blame Nico style for all of Koga's bad development. It's not the Nico style. It is literally, Weeping Willow is a problem, sure, but him learning the Adamantian Kata had no problem. The fact is, it was all that other shit, and Okubo saying this was just really Okubo, these have been great chapters, I've put it behind me, and you're just reminding me that everyone seems to know and care about Koga so much, like he's Goku, like he's Ichigo, like he saved the Soul Society, so all the captains who never interacted with Ichigo still know his name and begrudgingly are willing to help him here and there. Whether they've actually interacted with him on screen or not, they know the name, they know what he did, they know how he's involved with the whole thing, so they give him the benefit of the doubt. Koga has done nothing for these people. He didn't save the Kengan Association. He didn't battle the insides and win. He didn't do this, he didn't do that. He's not, the chairman or something like that. So all these characters doing that. Okubo in this chapter, great chapter besides, but all he did was remind me that somehow all of the cast of Kengan cares about Koga for some reason, whether it makes sense or not. And it's just like, okay, whatever. So, moving on from that little rant, though, the rest of the chapter was really good. Seki's speech is not the direction I thought it would be, and I still think it's too early for Koga to enter the inside, especially, and we'll get into that, because the second half is them doing a planning of attack with their, sort of at a date, but at the most up-to-date map of the inside. But he basically says, look, I went into this match. Some of you might know this was not a scheduled match. Whoever Okubo was supposed to fight, this was a pinch hit, and in a fight like this, that's incredibly dangerous, that's incredibly deadly. You need time to prep and study and figure out how these people have fought in the past and stuff, because these are very do or die matches, the Kengan matches, right? They are brutal, they are serious. So to just jump into a match where you have no idea who your opponent's going to be, so you can sort of scout them out like the day before, is usually what's wrong with you up here sort of idea. But Seki was proving a point that I didn't really see until this chapter, until this speech of his, where he basically said, look, I wasn't prepared, but sometimes you just got to go for it, go for broke, as they say, as the chapter title, and as, pro wrestler, famous pro wrestler saying and stuff. I don't know which pro wrestler did say it, but I guess one of them said it. And go for broke, just go for it, you jackass, you do what you want to do and go for it, and you'll find out what you're worth. I went in, my head held high and got my shit kicked, but sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. I feel like this speech would work whether Seki won or lost, but it's more inspiring, of course, because Seki, though beaten and bloody, did win the fight. So he's basically saying, Koga, stop being indecisive and listening to other people. What do you want to do? Let's go. Now, once again, problem with that speech is going back to the Okubo thing and the other stuff, is that Koga's getting a little too bit of Shonen MC vibes. He's getting a little too plot armory power, like it's just a little too plot armory at times. It's sort of like, he's really like, why does the whole cast of Kengan know his name and care about him? There is no reason. It's just writing it for the sake of writing it, and we're just expected to believe it. I think it's all supposed to be implied in time skips. But so, fact of the matter is, this is generally okay. This is what Seki wanted. This is the pep talk. This is what he's basically saying. He's like, "Go for it, jackass!" And it's like, "All right, Seki, you're still pretty cool." But telling him to go to the inside is like, Koga's not Seki. you might be ready for the inside. Koga is not. Koga is not ready for the inside whatsoever. I just don't see it. Now, you can argue that Rio is going. So, but he's from the inside, so maybe a little different. You know, you can sort of argue that one. But Koga is not ready for the inside in any way, shape, or form as far as I'm concerned. So even though this might be good advice for a typical shonen manga, you know, for the main character, like, just do what you can, Ichigo, just go do it, follow your dreams, Luffy. Yeah, no, you're gonna die, Koga. So maybe not the best advice in the world, but the message still felt good, it still felt strong, other than that little bit of a nitpick area there. The second half of the chapter going forward, though, jumps into this whole idea of, you know, we go back to Oma, and there's Yamagohan, and there's Red Pseudo, and everybody, and Mikazuchi, and they're all basically planning and talking about the insides. They're talking about the wards. Now, here's the key thing, and here's why I say Koga is definitely not ready for the inside in any way, shape, or form, is because there's actually a popular theory about, I don't know if I brought this up in reviews before, but I heard it and I like it, is that everyone's wondering, okay, why is Misasa the 8th Fang? You know, we know what happened. We know the 4th Fang, 5th Fang, 6th Fang. There had to be a 7th Fang, and then boom, all of a sudden, 8th Fang. Unless Katahara Matsudo believes like 7 is like the number 13 is unlucky number, sort of how they don't add the 13th floor in elevators, you know, in tall buildings. They skip that number. It's bad luck and all that shit. It's a superstition. So maybe he skipped the number 7 for some reason. I don't know, but there's a popular theory that the 7th Fang went into the inside and never came out, and that's why Misasa is the 8th Fang. Maybe. So, and that's why Misasa was trying to give Koga some of that advice. I forget if I brought that up or not, but whatever. I didn't come up with the theory, but I like the theory. And then we're talking about this. We're talking about the different wards and how they're constantly shifting, and these guys remind me of goddamn, like that fighting game simulator thing that was popular, like, years ago, but it was sort of a Super Smash Brothers Brawl, a Street Fighter-esque game, but you were trades. So, you know, the electrician was this big, bulky guy, and he had, like, cables and electricity attacks, and this giant, you know, he had a pipe bender and all this stuff. You know, the plumber had water powers and stuff, and this big tank guy, you know, the HVAC guy was wind-based. It was this crazy, you know, the construction worker looked like Julius Reinhold, you know, sort of idea, a Wakatsuki sort of character, and just boom, and picked up. His special ability was like pick up, so he'd pick up random objects around the area, you know, chairs, drywall, plywood, and just 2x4s and just smack people. You know, that was the carpenter. So the inside guys are reminding me of that, because they just mentioned this funny line where they say, you know, the roads and the borders don't matter. And all right, that makes sense. Sort of like, you know, gang territory, that kind of idea, right? No. It's because where roads used to be, we can't rely on these maps, because where roads once were, there's a fucking apartment building right there, and they're put up in a day. Now, granted, I think we need to take a little bit of, you know, a little bit of salt, more than a little bit of salt with that one. You know, you're gonna need some sweetener in your tea, sort of idea, though. No, use real sugar, don't use sweetener. But fact of the matter is that you can't build an apartment building in a day. That's just ridiculous. Even if you work 24 hours with 100 guys, you couldn't do it. But it's hilarious that these buildings go up, and that it just reminded me of, like, all right, these are the super tradesmen. Like, in the inside, the electricians are like literally lightning gods, and the plumbers are like these water benders and stuff like that. It's like these guys, no, man, they got nothing. The trades are the OP. Forget lawyers and doctors. Go to trade school. These guys, stronger than the Kengan Association, stronger than characters from Dragon Ball Z. These are the guys. They can build an entire apartment building in a day. You know, where a road once was. They can get water power, everything there. It just, something about it, the implication just had my mind just going, like, forward into this entire, you know, alternate universe of this idea of these, like, just these super powered tradesmen are in the inside, and they're like, yeah, well, we're going to build an apartment building today because, you know, the Tokita ward and the Shiki ward, you know, they had a little bit of a brawl, and yeah, so a house got destroyed in an apartment building. Well, we got to build them a new house, so get it done in 6 hours. Let's go, boys. You know, and they have, like, superpowers and stuff, so whatever that means, I don't know, but yeah, they're talking about the inside and stuff like that, and at the end of the day, all this boils down to is that it seems like a good moment, you know, Koga comes in and goes, we're gonna go rescue Ryuki. Like, yeah, MC opens double doors sort of vibe, let's go. Meanwhile, Oma's still the MC, you weirdo. But anyways, fact of the matter is he opens the door, it's like, we're still gonna go to the inside, aren't we? It's like, you are not ready for this, because even Yamagohan, like Retsudo, even talks to Oma about this, and he's like, yeah, so I've been to the Kita ward, and I've been to the outskirts and stuff, and I've also, when I had to move from the Kita ward to one of the other wards, I went around. I literally left the inside, went around, and then re-entered the inside, because Oma said, you do not cross, like, you don't travel in the inside. That's certain death. He goes, I sure as hell wouldn't do it. And this is not Oma. He didn't say, back in the day, I would have died doing it, or, you know, the me from before would have died, like, that's a heavy toll. He says he wouldn't do it. We can take that to mean as in him right now. Oma, as he is currently, still wouldn't travel in the inside with no worries, with no problems. And remember the training that these guys have been through. Remember, Agito thinks that Retsudo could be a Fang. Alright, so he's strong as shit. Mikazuchi and Oma both went through this whole, let's go up into the mountains where the oxygen is like basically Mount Everest and gonna kill us sort of idea. And it would kill normal people. It kills most of them. To learn Demon's Bane and the Rashin style kills most people, right? Oma and Mikazuchi have been through this, and they're both going, yeah, no, we can't travel through here. No, we got to figure out another plan of attack. And it's just like, these guys are being cautious. They're not saying they're not going to go, but they're being overly cautious. They're like, we cannot go in there willy-nilly. And these are like these are some top tier guys. And it's like, holy shit. So the inside is being hyped up like this crazy, dark continent. The dark continent usually referred to as Africa in a lot of different medias, the weird magics and spices and stuff from the dark continent, the mystery continent, I mean, a lot of manga do this, some of those places that come to mind, I guess, would be, my best example of this is the gourmet world in Bleach, not in Bleach, the gourmet world in Toriko, of course. That's a great example. Just an area that is so dangerous that you don't go there willy-nilly. You need to be mentally, physically, and emotionally prepared. And even then, it doesn't mean it's a cakewalk for anybody, right? So, things like that, So, the fact that Koga joins feels, as I said, he's got that Shonen MC vibe going for him. And I really need him to be taken down a peg or two. He needs to get his shit kicked because he is nowhere on the level of these guys who are being cautious going in. We have Retsudo, a potential Fang, the heir to the Rashin style, who has been through training, remember, and Oma, our real main character, Oma, are all there going, okay, here, no, we gotta strategize. We need to do some RTS fucking video gaming right now. We gotta strategize this shit. We can't just jump in like we have all, like, let's play this like it's a Fire Emblem game. You don't just jump in, your units are gonna die, right? So, I find it hilarious that Koga, with Seki's speech, is like, yeah, I'm going to the inside. Now I'm going to rescue Ryuki. He's got that very, I'll be the best that no one ever was vibe to him. And it's like, you were going to get your shit kicked. You know what's going to happen? Koga is going to end up being the guy who, remember when Zaiji was having that flashback and there was his brother and Edward and Faye were all like, they took out all these dudes and they were like standing there like, he's like, Connector, I took out those two bodyguards. And they're like, really? That's all you could do? We just wiped the floor with these guys. And G's like, I nearly died fighting two of them, and these guys just massacred the army of them. What the hell? That's going to be Koga when they're in the inside. Koga's going to have a high diff fight against some mid-tier fodder of the inside. These guys are going to shit kick those same dudes. And it's like, we need that scene to showcase that even if Koga is, mentally determined to go save his friend, which is a nice sentiment, and, Seki's motivation, that do or die sort of idea, go for it so you can, so you don't have regrets. Nice sentiment. You're still not ready for the inside, my man. You're still not ready. So, anyways, there was quite a bit to talk about in that chapter in regards to the inside, But, anyways, what did you guys think of the chapter? I really enjoyed the chapter. I thought it was really good. Other than that little reminder from Okubo that Koga's everybody's friend who's never met him before for some reason. But whatever, it is what it is. The chapter was still great. That fight was still top 5. It was great. And now we seem, after that fight, we seem to be moving on. I'm hoping that we're still going to get that little bit of recruitment. Can we bring Waka with us? Can we bring Gao Lang? Can we bring Hatsumi? Can we bring a couple other contenders with us? Because I think it'd be really cool to see some less Kengan match and more street brawling with these guys having each other's backs and just making their way as this small little like infiltration unit, sort of like an Expendables movie with the Kengan cast. That's what I'm picturing, right? The inside is an Expendables movie, and there's a Mel Gibson or a Jean-Claude Van Damme or Stone Cold or somebody's waiting, or Julia Roberts' brother is waiting for them at the end, you know, and they're like, okay, we need Bruce Willis, we need Harrison Ford, we need Arnold Schwarzenegger, we need Terry Crews, we need these people, let's go, you know. So we gotta put together the Expendables here. So that's what I'm hoping is gonna happen. That'll be kind of cool. I'd be a little disappointed if it was just these guys going. I really would be. I'll be disappointed if that's the case. But what do you guys think is going to happen? Let me know down in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And fourth and most importantly, pay me my money because Seki Bayashi won and I was the one who bet on the wrestler. All you voted on the MMA guy taking the W, but it was pro wrestling from the get-go. Alright, we'll see you guys next time. Have a good one. Stay tuned for chapter 199. I'm looking forward to it. Know you guys are too. Sayonara.